On December 8th, 2019, at the Midway Airport in Chicago, a famous rapper lands on a private jet, walks off the terminal, and within minutes, his brain is starved of oxygen. He falls to the ground, begins convulsing, and he never gets back up. That's exactly what happened to Juice WRLD at the age of 21 years old. The news called it a seizure, the medical reports called it an emergency, but they never actually told you what his body was going through in those final moments. I'm a CCRN-certified ICU nurse, and I've coded patients in full-blown opioid toxicity. And what those witnesses described at that airport wasn't just a seizure. That was a respiratory arrest happening in real time. Let's break down what we know. Here's the thing about opioids. They don't just kill pain, they also kill the signal to breathe. Deep in your brainstem, there is a cluster of neurons whose job is to keep you breathing without thinking of it. Think of like a pacemaker, but instead of your heart beating, it makes your diaphragm contract and all the other muscles that you need to breathe. When a massive dose of opioids hits your brainstem and it binds to those sites, it basically tells your breathing center to slow down your breathing and eventually to stop. Now, what Juice WRLD ingested wasn't just one thing. It was a massive cocktail that included codeine, oxycodone, and promethazine. Here is the clinical breakdown and reality of that mix. First, you have codeine. Now, codeine is what is referred to as a prodrug. That means that when you take it, it doesn't really do anything So that means that when you take it, it doesn't really do anything until it hits your liver, and your liver converts that prodrug into the actual drug. Now, what is the drug that codeine is converted into? Morphine. You already see where I'm going with this. And because this conversion process is a slow burn, a lot of times people think that their first dose didn't work, so they end up taking more and more until it all hits them at once. Then you have oxycodone. Oxycodone isn't a prodrug, so it doesn't just wait around for your liver to convert it. The second that it hits your blood, it starts to work on your central nervous system. And finally, you have promethazine. Now, promethazine is not an opioid, but it is a central nervous system depressant. And not only does it do those things, but when it's in the presence of other opioids and other types of drugs, it acts as a force multiplier, making those effects work even harder and longer. When they all hit at once, your breathing just doesn't slow down, it stops. The oxygen levels in your brain and the rest of your organs drop fast. And when I say fast, I don't mean in minutes, I mean in seconds. Now here's where it gets sticky, because reports say that Juice WRLD was given Narcan at the scene multiple times. Now, someone might hear that and think, well, if they gave him Narcan, why didn't it work? The reason is because Narcan works by physically kicking off the opioid from that receptor site. It's sort of like a bouncer at a club, right? But what happens when your bloodstream or the club is so full of toxic levels of opioids? The second that you kick one off, there's going to be another one that wants to bind. At that point, you're going to need more than one bouncer for that club. It's the same thing with the Narcan. And here's the clinical reality that no one talks about. Narcan works for about 30 to 90 minutes. Most opioids and prodrugs will last 3 to 4 hours. So you can reverse an opioid overdose and watch it come right back as soon as the Narcan begins to wear off. And as an ICU nurse, let me tell you the real life side of this. When we actually do get enough Narcan to kick those opioids off of their receptors and save that person's life, they don't wake up thanking us. They usually wake up pissed. I've had patients swing on me, scream at me, try to curse me out, all because I ruined their high. Because that bouncer doesn't just save their life, it rips them out of their high and sends them straight into withdrawal. But here's the clinical danger that no one talks about. The public narrative says that Juice WRLD just died of a standard, regular seizure. As an ICU nurse, I'm telling you that that is not medically accurate. Pure opioid toxicity does not just cause a random seizure. What most likely happened here is something that's called a hypoxic seizure. A seizure caused by the catastrophic loss of oxygen to the brain. When your brain is starved of oxygen for more than 60 seconds, the neurons begin to just fire rapidly and randomly. To witnesses on the tarmac, this probably just looked like epilepsy or random seizures. But the root cause wasn't a disorder. The root cause was the brain is dying. After just 4 to 6 minutes of lack of oxygen, brain damage becomes permanent. That brain sensor that turned off in the beginning of this video, it never came back on. And here's the thing that I want you all to understand. My goal here isn't to preach morality. My goal isn't to offer my opinion on someone's death. It isn't about judgment. My goal here is to explain what these substances actually do. Not the street version, not the media version, but the clinical version. The respiratory center in your brainstem doesn't care if you're a 21-year-old rock star. It doesn't care if you're a famous artist. It doesn't care if you have a #1 album. When it stops, it stops. I break these stories down because someone needs to tell you what the news won't. Not the headlines, but the biology. If this hits different, type the number 9 in the comments. Subscribe if you want more real clinical breakdowns of the culture. No sugarcoating, no clickbait, just the truth from someone that's seen it up close. Until next time, this is DTV, and I'm out. Peace.